Have you ever stopped and really thought about your life? Not the surface stuff, not what you tell people when they ask how you're doing. I mean, really thought about it. Where you are right now, where you wanted to be, and the gap between those two things. Because for most people, that gap is enormous, and the painful part isn't the gap itself. The painful part is knowing that you're the reason it exists. That's a hard thing to sit with. But if you stay with me today, I promise you, this is going to be one of the most important things you've ever heard. Almost everyone has a dream. Ask any 10-year-old what they want to be when they grow up, and they'll tell you without hesitation. A pilot, a doctor, an athlete, an artist, someone who matters, someone who makes a difference. Kids don't doubt themselves, they don't overthink it, they just believe. But something happens as we get older. Life starts talking, and it doesn't always say kind things. You fail a test and someone tells you you're not smart enough. You try out for the team and you don't make it. You share your dream with someone you trust, and they laugh. Or worse, they look at you with that quiet, pitying look that says, "Who do you think you are?" And slowly, without even noticing it, you start to shrink. You stop saying what you want out loud. You start calling your dreams unrealistic. You trade ambition for comfort. You trade possibility for safety. And one day, you wake up and you realize you've been living someone else's version of your life. Millions of people are walking around right now in that exact condition. They want more money. They want better health. They want deeper relationships. They want work that actually means something. They want to feel alive. But they stay exactly where they are. And the question that nobody wants to answer honestly is why it's easy to blame the economy, easy to blame your upbringing, easy to blame the people who didn't support you, the opportunities you never got, the system that wasn't built for someone like you. And look, some of that might even be true, but here's what's also true. There are people who came from nothing and built everything. There are people who grew up broke, in broken homes, in broken neighborhoods, who decided that their circumstances were not their sentence. There are people who were told no so many times that the word lost its power over them. So the question isn't really about your circumstances. The question is about your decision. Because at some point, and this is the moment that changes everything, at some point you have to decide that your dream is more important than your comfort, that your future is worth more than your excuses, that the version of you that's possible is worth fighting for. Most people never make that decision. Not really. They make it in words. They say, "I want to change." They say, "This is my year." They write it in a journal or post it on their story or tell their friends over dinner. But when the alarm goes off at 5 in the morning, they don't move. When the opportunity comes with a price tag of hard work and sacrifice, they hesitate. When things get difficult, and they always get difficult, they find a reason to stop. That's not a dream, that's a wish. And wishes don't build lives. Let me tell you something about the people you admire, the athletes, the entrepreneurs, the artists, the leaders. You see the highlight reel, the championship, the sold-out show, the successful company. The moment they're standing on top, you don't see what came before. You don't see the years of failure, the rejection letters, the empty bank accounts, the training sessions alone in a gym at midnight when everyone else went home. You don't see the version of them that sat in a dark room and seriously asked themselves, "Is this even worth it?" Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team. Oprah Winfrey was fired from her first television job and told she was unfit for TV. J.K. Rowling was a broke single mother, rejected by 12 publishers before one finally said yes to Harry Potter. Steven Spielberg was rejected from film school twice. These aren't exceptions. These are the rule. Every person who ever achieved something great walked through a version of that darkness. The difference isn't talent. It was never about talent. The difference is that they refused to let the hard chapters be the last chapter. They kept writing. Now, I want to talk to you about something that almost nobody tells you when they talk about success. And that's the absolute, brutal, unglamorous reality of what it actually takes. Because we live in a world right now that sells you overnight success, that shows you someone who blew up in 6 months and conveniently skips the 5 years of invisible work that came before that. We see the result and we think that's the path. It's not. The real path is boring. The real path is repetitive. The real path looks like doing the same thing over and over and over again for longer than feels reasonable, with no guarantee that it's going to work. Think about that. You have to keep going without proof that it's going to pay off. That's what makes it hard. That's why most people stop, because the human brain is wired for immediate reward. If you do something and nothing happens right away, your brain starts telling you it's not working. It starts looking for something easier, something faster, something that feels better right now. And discipline is the ability to say, no, not today. We're not quitting today. Discipline is choosing the hard thing when the easy thing is right there. Discipline is showing up when you don't want to. Discipline is keeping the promise you made to yourself, even when nobody else would know if you broke it. Most people overestimate what they can do in a week, and they massively underestimate what they can do in a year. One workout won't change your body, but working out consistently for a year, you won't recognize yourself. One day of eating well won't transform your health, but a year of intentional choices, everything changes.